Coming up, FDA advisors are set to meet regarding COVID vaccine boosters, a look into New York State lifting the mask mandate in schools, and Super Bowl winning quarterback Russell Wilson has been traded. All this and more as PS News starts right now. Good evening, and thank you for joining us on this busy Tuesday evening. I'm Benny Nazai.
And I'm Michael DeMarco. Let's take a look at what's happening around the world.
The U.S. Embassy in Moscow says the U.S. ambassador to Russia demanded consular access for Americans detained in Russia. It says Ambassador John Sullivan met with Russian foreign affairs officials on Monday. U.S. officials do not dispute Russia's claims that Sullivan was summoned to address President Biden calling Russian President Vladimir Putin a war criminal last week. The embassy tweeted he demanded Russia to follow international law and basic human decency by allowing consular access to all U.S. citizens that are detained, including those in pretrial detention. U.S. citizens detained in Russia include WNBA star Brittany Griner and former Marines Paul Whelan and Trevor Reed. The embassy says consular access has been consistently and improperly denied for months. It says it's completely unacceptable and they are deeply concerned.
The White House considered sending gas cards to families to help offset record high gas prices before eventually deciding it's not feasible. A White House spokesperson says gas cards are now not seriously under consideration. A source familiar with the administration's thinking said the Biden administration is worried gas cards won't work because of execution issues and fraud concerns. The source said in the past, cards have been stolen from mailboxes. They're studying the pros and cons of various other proposals to help Americans. Gas prices spiked to record highs after Russia invaded Ukraine, but started to gradually decline over the past week. The Biden administration has already announced the release of oil from emergency stockpiles. It's a coordinated action with the International Energy Agency.
Vaccine advisors to the FDA are set to meet on April 6th to discuss the possible need for COVID-19 vaccine booster shots down the road. They'll look at the potential process for selecting variant-specific boosters and whether the vaccine could become an annual shot similar to flu shots. Representatives from the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and the National Institutes of Health will take part in the vaccine committee meeting. No official vote is planned, and there will be no discussion of any specific products applying for authorization or approval.
Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau spent Tuesday visiting troops in Latvia. Canada leads the NATO battle group in Latvia through a program it calls Operation Reassurance. Trudeau committed to strengthen the military presence there and bring the number of Canadian troops to 660. Latvia is near Ukraine, but Belarus separates the two nations. Trudeau also sent a plane to Poland carrying humanitarian and military aid for Ukraine. The leaders of Spain and Latvia joined the Canadian leader as he toured a military base and met with NATO's Secretary General.
Now coming up, a look into the impact of New York State lifting the mask mandate at a college level. This and more on the other side of the break. Stay with us.
Hello, my name is John Lynch. I'm the president of the school's animation club. While other colleges' animation clubs strive to only show just straight anime, our club tries to be something different, as we show a variety of things such as Western animation, Eastern animation, internet animation, films, and so much more. If you want to meet people who have like-minded taste in animation, then feel free to come on down to our club.
Welcome back. Let's take a look at some news happening near you. New York Governor Kathy Hochul has lifted the mask mandate for schools. However, one local university hasn't taken the mask mandate completely away. Students are reacting. PSTV's Michael DeMarco has the story.
State University recently announced their new masking policy. Some students are upset with the administrator's decision.
We have Cortland and Buffalo, who are two of the top SUNYs in the system. with some of the highest, amounts of students throughout the state, and they're completely done with it.
Bigger schools like UB and Cortland and, schools like Oneonta that might not have a mask mandate anymore, but yet we still do when we really don't even have nearly the number of students.
The students question why bigger schools have removed the mask mandate entirely, while at Plattsburgh, they are still being required to wear masks in classrooms.
We did relatively well keeping our COVID numbers down, so you would think that we would have gotten rewarded in that sense by, getting rid of this mask mandate, but the officials just haven't really had our side on that.
85% of students voted in favor of no masks through a survey the school put out, but the school still did not lift the mandate.
Why even have the vote? Why should we even been involved?
Students also question the lack of consistency.
The local health boards are going to tell us that it's fine to go out in public and not wear a mask, then why should we still need them on school property? It doesn't make sense to me.
Oh, I can't wear here, not here. Like, all right, just make up one decision and stick with that. Like, either just have the mask or whatever, or just don't.
There is hope the next policy change will not only lift mask wearing, but also lift the spirits across campus.
The ability to go to class and actually be able to look each other in the eyes and see each other's faces again. I feel like it's something that we've all been missing a lot lately, and it'll go a long way in boosting not only everyone's spirits around here, but really just boosting the entire campus community as a whole.
Some Plattsburgh State students are currently unhappy with the mask regulations the school has set in place. However, there is still hope the regulations can change in the near future. For CMM 459 News, in Plattsburgh, I'm Michael DeMarco. New York officials are warning against possible cyber attacks amid the ongoing crisis in Ukraine. The city is on ultra-high alert as officials worry that Russia could retaliate against the sanctions imposed by the U.S.
You got to remember, in the cyber world, critical infrastructure, water, power, transport, 85% of it is privately run, so it can't just be a government-only security fence.
That means making sure you have strong passwords, different ones for each account, from your bank account to your Instagram.
Aside from strong passwords, officials say people can protect against potential cyber attacks by keeping devices updated. You should also be suspicious of emails and messages from unknown senders.
It's hard to believe it's been 25 years since hip-hop artist Biggie Smalls died. A new mural in his hometown of Brooklyn was unveiled a couple of weeks ago on the anniversary of his death. The two-panel work shows Smalls graduating grade school back when he was known by his given name Christopher Wallace. The second panel shows him in a more recognizable form as a musician known as the Notorious B.I.G. or simply Biggie. Investigators never solved his murder. He was shot to death at a traffic light in Los Angeles on March 9th in 1997, only weeks before his new album titled Life and Death was scheduled to be released. Many people believe it was revenge for the murder of West Coast rapper Tupac Shakur 6 months earlier. That has never been proven, and Shakur's murder has also never been solved. Now coming up, star NFL quarterback Russell Wilson is leaving Seattle. Stay with us.
Hey, how are you? I'm that sports guy, Jason Lynch. Let's take a look at some sports news. And what could be a blockbuster trade. Seattle Seahawks are sending quarterback Russell Wilson to the Denver Broncos in exchange for some draft picks. The 33-year-old Super Bowl winning quarterback has played his entire NFL career in Seattle. Wilson led the Seahawks to 8 playoff appearances, winning the Super Bowl in 2014 against the Broncos. Seattle is the only Super Bowl title, giving Seattle its only Super Bowl title. In exchange for Wilson, the Broncos will reportedly send quarterback Drew Lock, tight end Noah Fant, and defensive lineman Shelby Harris to Seattle. Denver will also hand multiple draft picks to Seattle. That's all I got for sports news. Now back to the desk with Mike and Benny.
Thank you, Jason. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for tonight. To stay up to date with PS News and PSTV programming, be sure to follow @Plattsburgh State TV on all social media platforms.
For the crew here at PSTV, thank you for joining us and have a great night, Plattsburgh.